live channel episode, and today, again, as always, it is your chance to ask me any questions that you may have about the British royal family and all the goings on that is happening in the media. So please let me know your comments and your questions in the live chat if you are available. If not, and you are watching on catch up, like many of you will be, then leave a comment. And if it's something really pertinent, then I will get back to it or I will address it in the next video. So today, we are going to be talking about a few different things. The main news, the main headline royal news of the day is, of course, that Princess Eugenie has announced that she is pregnant. She's expecting a baby sometime in the summer. Now, as of yet, we do not know any further details. We don't know if it's a boy or it's going to be a girl. So we don't know any of that kind of stuff. We don't have a date. All we know is that we have one very, very happy Princess Eugenie and an exceptionally happy Sarah Ferguson. She always is very animated, very excited, and of course they have both taken to Instagram. In fact, the initial announcement was actually made on Instagram along with a Buckingham Palace press release. So we're going to read and take a look at those in a moment because there are some photos. Hello to Leslie and Expellidiosius, Melinda, Michelle, and Martha. We're going to get to also some Prince Andrew news as well. And over the weekend, coronation plans. The King Charles's coronation plans. Some of them were revealed for the weekend. So if you do have any other questions, do let me know. But first of all, I will read what the actual press release from Buckingham Palace said about Princess Eugenie's new baby. So it was breaking news. And the statement reads, Princess Eugenie and Mr. Jack Brooksbank are pleased to announce they are expecting their second child this summer, Buckingham Palace announced. The family are delighted and August is very much looking forward to being a big brother, of course. Their only other child being 2-year-old, I think he is now, August Brooksbank. So, a photo was released on Princess Eugenie's Instagram. Now, Princess Beatrice doesn't have an Instagram. In fact, I don't think she has any sort of public social media, whereas Princess Eugenie has embraced it a little bit more. So on Princess Eugenie's Instagram, you can go and take a look yourselves as well. It's now, well, I think it's got over 40,000 likes. Princess Eugenie says, we're so excited to share that there will be a new addition to our family this summer, and the photograph was actually taken by Jack. So if I just show you there on the screen, you can clearly see a glowing Princess Eugenie and August hugging Mommy's baby bump. Now, I'm not quite sure where they are in that photo. It could be the Windsor estate. I'm thinking could be Windsor Great Park somewhere. It could be in the grounds of Royal Lodge. It's unclear whether or not they are still staying at Frogmore Cottage. Of course, Harry and Meghan's UK home, which they still have on lease. So technically, Harry and Meghan could come back at any moment. But Princess Eugenie, for a while, with Jack, were staying at Frogmore Cottage. So whether or not they are still staying there, even, part-time or full-time, remains to be seen. But anyway, it's a beautiful photograph. I think it's a very loving photograph. It just shows the kind of the glow, I think, of motherhood. In the photograph, you can see the sun glowing on Eugenie's face. The dress is very casual attire. So it's just a very nice kind of personal family photograph. And I think Jack really captured the moment. It wasn't one of those staged photos. It was a really relaxed photo that really just captures that moment, that real family private moment. So I did really enjoy that photo. Now, not to be outdone, Sarah Ferguson, obviously, is going to be another new grandma. Posted a photograph of August, and he's walking in a puddle. Now, if you look at the steps of there, now it could be anywhere. I think I do recognise those steps, but I'm not going to say entirely, just in case I'm wrong. But I think the Queen was photographed on very similar steps, with some dogs, with some corgis and dorgies. But there we go. That's a really cute photograph of August, another private photograph. And I do have the words from her here. Let's have a look. If I can just scroll down a second. Because, here we go. Sarah Ferguson accompanied the photograph with, you will be sharing Puddle's orgy. So they don't call him orgy or orgy. Augie. Superb news. Granny heaven. So deeply grateful. So Sarah, obviously, overjoyed by the news, as I'm sure all new grandmothers are. So I just thought that was some really nice, good royal news to share. We actually have something, not only do we have the coronation to look forward to, but we now have a new royal birth. Now, of course, with a royal birth comes a shift in the line of succession. So anyone who is in the line of succession below Princess Eugenie will be shunted down a place, which does mean that the Earl of Wessex is now pushed further down. But that doesn't matter, because I think everyone in that family is used to the fact that, unless you're in the top 3 positions, so to speak, then you, over your lifetime, you will be shunted down in the line of succession. So all change, well, some change anyway, at least in the line of succession. So I just want to send my best wishes to Princess Eugenie and Jack, and of course the whole family. Lots of people saying congratulations to Eugenie and Jack. Lauren says, it's fabulous news, a coronation and a royal baby in 1 year. Absolutely. Yes, Granny Heaven. What brooch and tiara am I wearing today? I'm wearing the flower basket brooch. Now, this is a really nice one. I do love this brooch. It's one of my favourite royal replicas, and the Queen did like and enjoy wearing this one. I just like the colours. It reminds me that spring is coming, because January and February are rather bleak. So it just kind of brightens up, I think. Also, I am wearing Princess Diana's aquamarine cocktail ring. This is a replica of it, and I think it goes very nice with my engagement ring. But there we go. That's the Diana cocktail ring. And for the tiara, I am wearing the Grand Duchess of Teck tiara. No, I'm not. No, I am not wearing the Grand Duchess of Teck tiara. I am wearing the Augusta tiara. The reason why I mentioned the Teck one, it's on my mind, is because I do have a replica of the Teck tiara, which I'm going to unveil in an upcoming video. So that's why that is on my mind. So if I just pop that back on, I do like my royal replicas. Lauren says, do we think there will be more royal titles to come as we have a new king? More royal titles? No, for now. And I'm going to say no for now, because we still have the unsettled Dukedom of Edinburgh, of course, Prince Philip's former title, to still be redeployed within the royal family. Now, there was a lot of talk about whether or not that was going to be given to Princess Charlotte to become the Duchess of Edinburgh. I think that it was only mentioned because, obviously, I've just mentioned, with every new royal birth, royal members get shunted further and further down the line. So, of course, in time, if the Dukedom of Edinburgh goes to the Earl of Wessex, that title will become further and further removed from the core royal family. And of course, Edinburgh is a big, important city to do with Scotland. So I think that's why that was mentioned. However, traditionally, the eldest daughter of the king, or queen, of course, would become the Princess Royal, which of course is Princess Anne's title at the moment. So as soon as Anne is no longer here, shall we say, once Princess Anne is no longer here, that title will revert back to the crown, and either Charles, or indeed probably more likely to be William, will then be able to gift or give that title, bestow that title onto Princess Charlotte. So I think that's where she will always be. I think that's where she was always going to head, and I think that will be the case. Up until that point, of course, she will be known as Her Royal Highness the Princess Charlotte of Wales. She will be able to retain of Wales, I do believe, until she gets married. So if she doesn't become the Princess Royal before she gets married, upon marriage she will become Her Royal Highness the Princess Charlotte of the United Kingdom. But until marriage, she will be of Wales, because that is obviously her father's title. Now, if she never gets married, she will just stay Her Royal Highness the Princess Charlotte of Wales, even when William becomes king. But again, if she does marry, then she takes on the, I suppose, the surname of her spouse, but she would remain Her Royal Highness the Princess Charlotte of the United Kingdom. That will not, or should not, be taken away from her. So, in terms of the Dukedom of Edinburgh, I think it will be given to the Earl of Wessex. There was talk that he was a bit disgruntled at even the mere suggestion that that title would be bestowed to Princess Charlotte instead of him, when it was agreed at the time of his marriage in 1999 that he would become the Duke of Edinburgh when the time came. Now, of course, it wasn't up to the Queen to bestow that title upon him, because the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip's heir, was Charles. So the Dukedom of Edinburgh title went to Charles. So now that Charles is king, he can now redistribute those titles and styles as he sees fit. So again, I mentioned in a previous video when we spoke about this that I thought they were saving it for a momentous occasion in Prince Edward and Sophie's lives. So it could have been, a big wedding anniversary coming up, but it turns out it could be for his birthday. It could be for the Earl of Wessex's 60th birthday, which would be a really nice present from the king. I mean, what do you give? What do you give a prince? What do you give your brother who's a prince, who's, got everything? I think that title would be a really fitting gift. So I don't see that title going to Charlotte. I do see it going to the Earl of Wessex in due course. So in terms of any new titles and styles, William and of course Catherine, I don't expect them to have any other titles. I think the Prince and Princess of Wales, plus being a double duke, don't forget he is still the Duke of Cornwall and Cambridge. So he's the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Cornwall, and of course the Duke of Cambridge, plus all of his other subsidiary titles as well. So they've got enough titles. I don't think they need any more titles. They certainly don't have enough room on the passport, if they were filling in all of their titles. So no, I can't see anything there. With regards to Harry and Meghan, they were never going to get any extra titles, even if they had stayed in the royal family, because once you become a royal duke, there isn't really, anything particularly. There isn't anywhere to go, if you know what I mean. So no, I don't see anything. In fact, they're lucky at the moment that they still have technically the HRH, even though they can't use it. So the Earl of Wessex, like I said, potentially going to be the Duke of Edinburgh in due course, possibly his 60th birthday. Princess Anne, there's not going to be any change there, and I don't think she wants any change. Obviously, the hardest working royal, very low key, very discreet, not really bothered by all of that. She's not a glory hunter. So, I mean, obviously, she's very respectful of her position and her title, which is why she has so much respect. But she's not on the make. She's not out to get more. So, Princess Anne, no. As for Prince Andrew, I mean, maybe that will sort of lead us quite nicely into Prince Andrew. So, all I'm going to say is sleeping dogs. And perhaps it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. Andrew's reputation has not really recovered since the whole scandal, and of course he made that settlement to Virginia just ahead of the Queen's Jubilee. So it transpires anyway that royal rumblings, royal rumours are afoot. that he's actually going to use the inheritance that he had from his mother, the Queen. Now, we don't know how much because the Queen's will is not a public document. Everyone's will in the UK is a public document. You can pay to access anybody's will as long as you have, I think, the name and the address of the person. You can actually get that information. You can pay a certain amount of money and you can obtain it. It's public record. Anybody's will and last will and testament. But the royal family are protected. The monarch is definitely protected. So we don't know what was in her will, but we do expect that she left a legacy to all of her children, potentially some grandchildren as well, maybe even great-grandchildren. But the bulk of her wealth would have directly transferred to Charles. So there's a sort of monarch to monarch transfer unless there's anything specifically put into a will. So it's expected, presumed, if you like, that there would have been at least perhaps a couple of million given to Prince Andrew. Also, estimates of the settlement with Virginia, I've seen really wide-ranging figures as to what he paid. Anywhere from, now people are saying it was closer to the 2 or 3 million pound mark. However, I've seen up to sort of 12, 13, 15 million pounds. So we don't actually know how much. But anyway, there are rumours afoot that he is going to use some of that money, plus the money from the sale of the Swiss chalet, of course, that he has shared with Sarah Ferguson, going to use some of that money to take legal action against Virginia to get that settlement back. Now, I have no idea if that is even legally possible once you have settled something, but he's apparently got the king's backing. Now, I was thinking about this, why would the king, I suppose, give his blessing for Andrew to do this? Well, I think it's potentially a case of the impossible task. So sometimes you might agree, you might say, okay, yeah, go ahead, do something, because you know that it's practically impossible. Not impossible, but almost impossible. So perhaps the king is sort of being like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, then the only way that you're going to get back into this family in terms of royal duty is if you clear your name. So, that's a very big task, almost the impossible task for Andrew to embark on. And perhaps that's what we're seeing. Maybe we are seeing Andrew trying to clear his name. Legally, of course, with the settlement, he didn't admit to anything. Now, we're not going to get in this video into the whys and what fors of morals, of legalities, because I don't think any of us truly understand all of those. But what we are going to talk about is potentially what's going on. So if it is being discussed that he could take legal action, experts in the United States have said that it's very unlikely that this would go anywhere because he agreed a settlement. He didn't admit to anything in that settlement, but he did agree a settlement. And I think once you've agreed and you paid and it's been accepted, that would be very, very difficult to undo. In fact, probably you would have to sue. So what we're potentially talking about is Prince Andrew suing Virginia to get that money back. Now, I don't know what level of proof, whatever, that you might need, but in a recent interview, Ghislaine Maxwell from prison gave an interview saying that she categorically denies that photo of them together is real. So, that's what she is saying. That's her version of the truth. And so she is still supporting Andrew. And of course, she says that she regrets ever having met what's his face, Maxwell. No. So yeah, basically, what's I trying to say? I've lost my track of thought. So basically, Andrew also in the interview said that he regretted meeting Epstein, of course, Epstein, So we have a lot of regret. And what I think is, at the moment, let sleeping dogs lie. I don't think that there is a particular clear path back into royal life for Prince Andrew. I think really what he should do realistically. Oh, there's also talk about him reusing his HRH. So he still has the HRH, very much the same way that Prince Harry does, but has decided not to use it. So apparently the king has given permission for him to use it in private correspondence. So potentially he's using that already. Although we haven't seen anything come out, we haven't seen invitations or anything with him using that. But we can expect that he is using that in private. But of course, what Andrew wants is to be able to use it publicly, and he wants a return to royal life and royal duty. So I think the king has set him this impossible task, or rather just, kind of said, okay, if you can clear your name, then, okay, fine. But I think it's a bit of a impossible task. Not impossible, but we'll see on that one, shall we? But realistically, what I think Andrew should do is let sleeping dogs lie. I think he should probably remarry Sarah. He could undertake, low-key business things to start making some money again. He could do charity work. He could get a Twitter and Instagram, publicise his own charity work if that's what he wants. And I think, this is, I know, might be controversial, I don't know, but I think he should give up Royal Lodge in Windsor. Now, I've thought about this. He does actually own the lease on Royal Lodge. It's a Crown estate property. It's a very big property. It's very expensive to run. And if you are no longer receiving money from the Crown, now we do think that Charles has agreed to pay for his private protection, because of course he lost that. But we don't know how much other support he is receiving from Charles. We do know that Sarah is making her own money through books and merchandise and all kinds of things. So they do have money coming in, but Royal Lodge is a huge property. It's more suitable for the Cambridges, now of course the Prince and Princess of Wales. So I think he should give that up. Potentially the Crown Estates would owe him some money, obviously, to sort of pay him off the lease, so to speak. And there was talk that over Christmas they actually stayed at Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, which is a more modest sized property. And that was where they were for Christmas with Sarah and Eugenie and Beatrice. So I'm thinking if Charles let them live at Wood Farm, which is much more manageable, then they would be a lot more sustainable in terms of the finances. It would also free up Royal Lodge for the Waleses to move into, if indeed they wanted a bigger property. More of a main home, of course, at Windsor, because Adelaide Cottage is still their main home, but it is quite small by royal standards. So that would be a better move. I think, like I said, I think Andrew should remarry Sarah, new beginnings, so to speak. And I think they should just let sleeping dogs lie. I don't think trying to challenge the settlement is really going to achieve anything. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Susie and Chris wanted a close-up of my ring. There we go. Lauren says, do we think we will get a steps moment or just a brief statement? I would say a statement, but they did go on the one show last time, I believe. You mean like out of hospital? I think they might... I don't know. It depends how they feel. And it depends how the labour goes, If she's really struggling to move around afterwards, then an immediate steps moment with the baby might not be the most suitable thing. I'm thinking it will be a bit more private this time, and we might just get a nice photo when mother and baby, of course, are up to it. Lots of people still saying congratulations to Princess Eugenie and, of course, the whole family. Yes, some of William's other titles are Baron Carrickfergus in Northern Ireland. I think he's rarely used that one. Lauren thinks it's probably a little too early to say, but you think it's going to be a baby girl. And Elizabeth, yes. I mean, Elizabeth would be a good name. A very fitting tribute, I think. Unless, of course, the royal family have any agreement not to use Elizabeth as a first name until maybe, William and Catherine may have another baby. Who knows? Stephanie thinks, do you think that King Charles III will weigh in on gay marriage within the Anglican Church? I see where activist Peter R. led a protest outside of the Archbishop of Canterbury's place. I don't think Charles himself, as the head of the church, will get involved with that. I think privately, we don't know what conversations he has with his higher-ups in the church, so to speak. It could be something that he pushes for privately. But I don't think he's going to rock the boat in terms of trying to force his views onto other people. Now, we know that he has supported many disadvantaged peoples during his time as Prince of Wales, and I do think that will continue as king, but it has to continue differently. He can't be as overt with things. The way as king that he can do things is through private conversations with, for example, his weekly audiences with whoever the Prime Minister is. He can express concerns, he can question things, he has, of course, the right to be consulted. He does have a wealth of knowledge that any Prime Minister can draw upon. So he just has to do it a bit more low-key. Symbolism is another thing. He can support different things by the visits that he undertakes. So, if he goes to, I don't know, let's just say he chooses to visit a gay Christian group as one of his visits. Now, that would send a really clear message that he might be in support of integrating gay people more within the church. So it's all about symbolism. I don't think we're going to see anything. We're not going to see him being overtly political. He's already said that he knows the difference between being the Prince of Wales and being king. It's very different. So, yes, I think we'll see him supporting causes like he always has done. He's always supported disadvantaged youth within the Prince's Trust. I mean, he's raised millions and millions and hundreds of millions of pounds over the Trust's life for disadvantaged young people. So I think he will continue, but he will do it at a much more low-key. In a low-key way, I shall say. We'll talk about the coronation events in a moment. Jay Patterson says, no, Prince Andrew, leave it in your past and move on. Sleeping dogs. Evelyn says, legally will be complicated by the fact that this is an international issue. Yes, with different laws. Absolutely. Lauren says, sadly, there will always be bad news within the royal family as well as good. Yeah, it is a bit of a royal soap opera. Stephanie, thank you so much. She has donated $5. Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot to me. Thank you. And you say, I support Prince Andrew doing royal duty. US Presidents Trump and Clinton are both linked to Epstein, but cricket's over here. It's because he's royal and he's very high profile. And, of course, he has not legally been brought into any criminal investigation. So we don't know what evidence people have. We don't know what evidence Virginia's got. We don't know what evidence Andrew's got, really. I mean, he spoke about it a bit in his interview, didn't he? He said, where he was, Pizza Express in Woking. But we don't have, as far as we've seen, any actual evidence. So, I think it's best sleeping dogs. Lauren says, let me go back up again. Lauren says, let's just hope we can all concentrate on the coronation and new baby and events in between, like Trooping the Colour. Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. Laura says, I absolutely love both channels. If you haven't checked out my other channel, please do. Yes, I have another channel, a lifestyle channel, Elliot and Matt British, just Elliot and Matt. It used to be Elliot and Matt British Life, but it's just Elliot and Matt. So if you want to check that out, check it out. Laura says, I would love to see Andrew and Sarah remarry in the future. Now, of course, if they were to remarry, Sarah would become the Duchess of York again. At the moment, she is not the Duchess of York. She is Sarah, comma, Duchess of York, which is very much the way that divorced members of the family are known. Of course, if Prince Andrew was to remarry somebody else, Sarah would still be Sarah, Duchess of York, but his new partner, his new wife, his new spouse would be, whatever her name is, the Duchess. Well, she would be the Duchess of York. So you can only have one, the Duchess of York, but Sarah, could still be Sarah, Duchess of York. But if you remarry Sarah, she would again be elevated to HRH, which, given Andrew's current position, she probably wouldn't be able to use. But she would be the Duchess of York again, if that makes sense, because titles are very complicated things. Lauren says, I'm not sure they would remarry, but it's evident that they are a couple and have been for a long time. Yeah, absolutely. Stephanie says, King Charles III has a lot of personal properties with Balmoral, Sandringham, and all of his grandmother's personal properties. Absolutely. And I think Wood Farm would be quite a nice one for Andrew, in effect, to retire to. And like I say, it's affordable. It would be affordable on what he and Sarah are bringing in. Not that we know what they're bringing in, but I'm assuming it would be more affordable than Royal Lodge. Let's put it that way. And it would still be, on a royal property. It would still, have royal protection, all the rest of it. Gio says, Andrew is too arrogant for a contemporary royal. His behaviour is of a bygone past. That is everyone's entitled to their opinion. But yes, I mean, Andrew does have a certain demeanour. I'm trying to be diplomatic. Lauren says, do we think the rumours of only the King and Queen consort and the Waleses on the balcony on the coronation day are true? I think it'll be working royals. I don't think it will just be the core. I think it will be working royals. Now, also on the balcony, if you look back to the Queen's coronation, you saw all of the ladies in waiting on the balcony as well. So whether or not we'll get to see those, I do not know. I don't even know if there will be I know the ladies in waiting title has been done away with, but Camilla does have her companions, the Queen's companions. So will they be there? Will they be in costume? I think we are just going to see the working royals, which of course will exclude Andrew and will exclude Harry and Meghan. Lawrence says, talking of the balcony, do we know how the works are going on at the palace? It was a 10-year programme. So, of course, that has been funded by the Sovereign Grant. There was a boost in the Sovereign Grant to cover 380-something million over 10 years. So I think we are pretty much, are we year 6? Year 5, maybe? I think we're about halfway through. So obviously it's done in sections. I don't know exactly what they're doing at the moment. They do share updates occasionally, just so we can see how things are going. But no, it's not finished yet. We're probably about halfway, maybe just over halfway through. Let's go back up again. Evelyn says, is same-sex marriage legal in the UK? Yes. But the church doesn't typically do it within church buildings or officiate over. It would be like a civil registrar would have to conduct, so to speak. But yes, gay marriage is legal. Charles, as head of the church, could speak in that capacity. RE Church Matters. It's more constitutional. He is the head of the church. I suppose, in a way, it's kind of like the Pope, whereas the Pope can speak. But because Charles is there as unelected, he's hereditary head of the church, I think those sorts of matters are left up to the higher ups in the church. So it's a church. He still is like the head of the church. He's a bit like the Pope, but it's done in a more constitutional way. In the same way that I suppose he's the head of, he's the head of the country. He's the head of state, but he doesn't he doesn't implement his own will on the government, if you see what I mean. So think of the higher ups in the church as being like the prime minister and the government. It's kind of run in a constitutional kind of way. Scott said, if they did remarry, would the king attend? I don't see why not. I mean, it is a little bit different than when the Queen sort of, in attendance of Charles's marriage, because Charles was marrying a different divorced person, whereas I suppose Sarah and Andrew would be remarrying each other. So yeah, there's a difference there. That's not like for like, really. But I see no reason why not. Laura says, I see nothing wrong with getting married as long as the couple love each other. Yeah, absolutely. Lauren says, I do believe that a member of the family is gay and married to his husband. Yes, a distant cousin of the Queen. Is he Lord such and such? But yes, he is married, and he does have a beautiful home, a nice big country pile. Black Young says, Prince Andrew mentioned pizza. Kind of weird with the whole Pizzagate situation. That's what he said. What he said. He said what he said. And yes, it probably was a bit weird. Melinda says, didn't Sarah buy another property? Yes, but I think it was more of an investment property. It wasn't one. I think it's somewhere in the middle of London, somewhere. So, yeah, I think a more suitable home for them would be one that's on royal property, that still has royal protection. So I'm thinking Sarah's property would be more of an investment property. Thank you to the Queen of Kingsbury, who says, I'm looking gorgeous. Well, thank you. Stephanie says, I think working royals is okay for the constitutional monarchy, but insults the concept of royal family. Looks a bit ridiculous and very sad. Don't forget, a coronation is an official state occasion. And if you look, cast your mind back to the balcony of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth the Second. She didn't have every single family member there. There is only it's a big balcony, but there is only a certain limited amount of space that you can have on it. And of course, Charles is trying to make the monarchy appear more streamlined. So, what better way of making it appear more streamlined than having the core working royals on the balcony? Now, if there's going to be a fly past, there could be several balcony appearances. We could have an initial balcony appearance, then there could be a fly past, there could be a flyover. Now, very much in the same way as Trooping the Colour, if there's a flyover, the wider royal family could come out to see the flyover. So it depends how many balcony appearances we actually get. We could get 2. I'm just calling it. I'm calling it now. There could be 2. Lauren says, I suppose they have to give the job a title, and working royals just makes it simple. Yeah. And of course, it's like that thing, like Prince Harry made reference to the fact of it, like Charles being his employer, perhaps he should have had, a severance pay or redundancy and blah, blah, blah. It is a weird situation. It's like you don't really have an employer. If you want to look at it in those kinds of terms, Charles is kind of like the employer. But it's not a job. It isn't actually a role. There is no written down role for any member of the royal family other than the king, or rather the sovereign. Whoever is sovereign has an amount of constitutional duties, so there is a role. Even the Prince of Wales, there is no official role. Now, obviously having the Dukedom of Cornwall, it comes with lands, it comes with the Duchy of Cornwall, so you have responsibilities, but there is no actual formal role of how you should conduct yourself, what you should be doing. It is very much left to the individual to choose how you use your position. But you do get perks. Rather than a salary, you get perks. And this is what Prince Harry forgot all about. He forgot the fact that he actually had a free house. He forgot the fact that he got a free car. You know, he forgot the fact that he got free protection. He forgot the fact that, you know, he had an allowance. I mean, how lucky can you be? Yes, it comes with, you know, certain sacrifices, but, you know, you do get things in return for it. Would Sarah get the HRH back? Yes, but if Andrew's not using his, it's very unlikely that she'd be able to use it. Yes, I watched Mike Tindall on I'm a Celebrity, and I thought he was really good. And he was at the Magic Millions polo in Australia recently, and he was wearing her hats again. I love to see an Instagram post or a photo where Mike Tindall always gets Zara's hats, and he has a moment with her hat. And I think that's really clever, because the hat gets two moments. It gets a moment on Zara, and it gets a moment on Mike. I think he's fun. I can certainly see why, you know, Zara likes him. Just those funny moments where, you know, he said that he split his trousers in front of Princess Anne. That was just absolutely hilarious. I do love Mike. I think he's great. Zara as well. You know, Princess Anne has very, you know, well-adjusted children. Queen says, free security also with being a member of the working royal family. You certainly didn't remember. Yes, he certainly didn't remember that. But, you know, like I said, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, they lost their royal protection when they were 5th and 6th in line to the throne before the Cambridge children were born. They lost it then because they're not working royals. So I don't know how Harry and Meghan thought that, you know, that they would automatically have protection if they weren't working royals. There is already a precedent set. And if, for some reason, Harry manages to get back that security, then it opens the doors for Beatrice and Eugenie to, you know, to have royal protection as well, again, because in the interest of fairness. Queen of Kingsbury says, Mike is loads of fun, for sure. He is indeed. So, I'm going to move on now to the Coronation weekend. So I did make a video, a more detailed video, where I read out the entire plans that have been announced. But obviously, the Coronation Day is Saturday the 6th of May. That will include the coronation service. Many people all over the country, you know, will be having a day off. It is a public bank holiday weekend, and, you know, some people will be having street parties. Obviously, it's been confirmed that the coronation will be at Westminster Abbey. I think nobody thought that it wouldn't be. There's going to be a King's procession from Buckingham Palace, and there's going to be a longer procession on the way back. And, you know, we think that there will be, well, there definitely will be a balcony appearance. Now, it doesn't say two, it just says that members of the royal family will appear on the balcony. So it is a bit vague. I think, as I've just mentioned, it will be working members of the royal family, and don't discount 2 appearances. There could be a flyover. Who knows? Then on Sunday the 7th of May, we have a coronation concert. So we don't know exactly who is going to play or sing or perform at the concert, but it is going to have global music icons and contemporary stars together to celebrate the historic occasion. And there is going to be a public ballot for tickets. So if you do want to go, then look out for that. And it's expected, as King Charles wants, for it to be very diverse. So I would expect to see lots of different things, including things maybe from around the Commonwealth as well. And that is going to be broadcast on the BBC. Could even be streamed live on the BBC with YouTube. There's going to be a coronation big lunch, which is where communities around the United Kingdom can, you know, apply to get packs, and they can organise their own coronation big lunch where people can get together, from a cup of tea with neighbours to a full-blown street party. So it's a way to unite the community and use the coronation as a way to bring people together a lot of criticism of the coronation is always going to be about the cost of it, and especially the cost of it in today's world where, you know, money's tight. Money is definitely too tight to mention. But the bonus thing about these sorts of situations is that they often come at a time when money's tight. You know, if you look back to the Queen's coronation and all different sorts of events, there's never a right time. But it depends how you see it. It depends how you use it. In the past, people have used these sort of glittering weddings and coronations as a chance to bring a bit of light into their lives, to have a bit of brightness, to celebrate, to bring people together. And I think that's what the Coronation Big Lunch is going to do. And I think the coronation in general will do that. I think it might not be something that we want to pay for, but I think it's something that is going to bring people together, and it's very important. We haven't had a coronation in all those years, in all those decades, so, you know, perhaps now it's time. Anyway, on Monday the 8th of May, now we know that the Queen Consort is very much into volunteering, so the big help out is going to be, it's going to be on the 8th of May, and is being organised by the Together Coalition and a wide range of partners such as the Scouts and the Royal Voluntary Service. So it's where you can volunteer, you can gift some of your time to help people. And I imagine that, you know, you could, doesn't matter where you are in the world, you don't have to be British, you can still, you know, on that day volunteer to help out. You can still organise your own street party if you wanted to. You know, you don't have to be British to do any of these things. You can do them all. It really doesn't matter. Right, let's go back to, I'm going to scoot down to the bottom of the comments. Lauren says, personally, I do think it will just be himself and the Queen Consort and the Wales family. We will see. Everyone's going to have their predictions, and that's the fun part of royal watching, is the speculation, and then we get to see, you know, what actually happens. So, you know, lots of people are going to be expecting. Now, there was one thing I wanted to talk about. Rumours about King Charles's coronation outfit. Now, normally, kings would wear the traditional breeches and the stockings. Now, I quite like that for a coronation because it looks the part, it looks regal. Now, rumours are flying around that he might not want to wear them. No, I'm going to correct myself. The rumours are that Charles is happy to wear them, but the courtiers are saying it might look a bit outdated. It's a coronation. The whole coronation is outdated. It's, you know, a ceremony from hundreds of years ago. Of course it's going to be outdated. That's what it is. Anyway, makes my blood boil. Anyway, I want Charles to wear the breeches. Just wear the breeches. Wear the breeches, wear the tights, because that is tradition. Because what else are you going to get coronated in? People are speculating it could be military attire. Well, there's a problem with wearing military attire, and that is the fact that as the head of the country, as the head of state, as sovereign, you are head of not just one armed force, you are head of all of the armed forces. And if you choose one uniform, what does that say? It says that you're favouring one particular service, and that is not going to be on. I would be affronted if I was in the army and he wore, you know, Admiral of the Fleet uniform, for example. So if you wear military uniform, there is the big issue of which one do you wear, and, you know, is it right to exclude the other forces of what you're head of at such an important event? I don't think so. Then you get to the question of what if he just wears a suit? Well, if you look at the Order of the Garter, if you look up pictures of the Order of the Garter, Charles wears a suit under those big robes. Now, I don't think that looks right either, to be honest. I think for a coronation, a suit is not fancy enough. I want to see, in my view, there is only one option, and that is full-on stockings, full-on breeches, go the whole garb, and if Charles is happy to wear it, let him wear it. My goodness. Oh, Queen of Kingsby says no britches. Well, I say britches. Hashtag wear britches. Yes. Laura C says, I like the traditional aspects too. Queen of Kingsby says, everything about the coronation will look outdated. Absolutely, it is outdated. But the fact that it is outdated makes it special. That's what makes it watchable, because, you know, you're not just walking down there wearing a hoodie, which I definitely don't want to see. Susan says, Edward abdicated with Wallace. Oh, we are going back a bit now, aren't we? Leaving the crown to his little brother Bertie, and Buckingham Palace was bombed. Yes, it was bombed. Kind of interesting spare strategy, feels familiar of times. I'm not quite sure where you're going with that, but yes. Queen of Kingsby says, a modern version of the breeches would be quite interesting. They could get a designer. Okay, I'm open to something new, as long as it fits. I don't think a suit is suitable. Get the joke, and I don't really think that military is good in terms of you're seen to be favouring one over the other. And you'd like to see Stella McCartney designing. Lauren says, oh, yes, we can have King Couture, can't we? We can have a King Couture moment. Lauren thinks we'll see a lot of traditional things, but maybe not the next coronation. I feel things may change then, but who knows? I mean, the fact is, it's a religious, solemn ceremony. You know, you have to have these moments of tradition. Everything can't be brand new. Susan says, military on King Charles is not for me. Wish he'd insist on traditional royal robe. Well, the robes will be there. He's definitely going to have, you know, there'll be a robe. I do think it will be faux fur now, though. I don't think we'll see, you know, the ermine. We might see faux ermine. I think there might be a concession there. Yeah, breeches or stitches. Mary thinks breeches and stockings. Yes, go the whole hog. It's a coronation. You're not going to Aldi. You're not going to Lidl. Breeches. Oh, you said no breeches in surprise. He's not wearing breeches. Yes, well, I was very surprised too. Anyway, so there we are up to with the coronation news. And as soon as we hear any more, I will, of course, let you know. Right, I think I've spoken about everything that I wanted to speak about. So, over to you for the last 5 minutes. The floor is open. I will answer any questions. Otherwise, I shall be gone until next time. Lauren says, when I say I see change, I mean in formality, i.e. bowing. I think we should have a certain level of deference to the monarch. I think the moment we start treating them completely normal, like normal people, they are normal people, but the moment we start completely treating them like normal people is the moment when it loses a little bit of that sparkle, a little bit of that magic, a little bit of that mystique. Right. There will be a royal... I bought some more tiaras, so there will be a royal jewellery video coming out very soon. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching, if you've made it through all this long. And yeah, thank you for watching, basically. If you have enjoyed this video, it is important to share it on social media, because YouTube doesn't always push it out. So if you do have an Instagram or a Twitter or a Facebook, just, you know, click on the share link button and share it, because it does help to get the video out there. Always give it a like, give it a thumbs up, because that again helps YouTube to push it out. And if you can leave a comment, it helps with the engagement, so please do. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will return. So until the next time, to you all, and goodbye.